Hello, I'm Brandon from PHP Tutorials, and today I'm going to be going over basic PHP syntax and also basic use of PHP variables. Starting off, you may be wondering what PHP syntax is. PHP syntax is just a couple characters stating where PHP code starts and stops. Now this is important because if you didn't have these in your PHP files, PHP wouldn't know where to render your code and it would just output it as text, and we don't want that. We never want that. So starting off, let me show you what PHP syntax looks like. There's two ways to type it. There's less than question mark PHP question mark greater than, and this is the start and this is the stop. You can also do it without typing in PHP. But you know what? I feel like that extra 24 bits of data is quite important. So now that we have our syntax in there, it's going to be a good time because now we're going to go over variables. Now, there's many ways to use variables. You can put arrays in there, which I'll be going over later in life. Not this video because I only have 10 minutes. But you can use arrays, you can use strings, numbers, you can even put variables in your variables, which is always fun. Now, to define a variable, you need several things. One is you need to start it off with a $sign. And then after that, you have the choice of using either an underscore or a letter. If you use a number, it's not going to recognize it, and no one wants an unrecognized variable. So we can have like cheese, cheese, cheese. You get the point, there's a lot of cheese. But today we're going to have the variable called name. Now, after we have the variable name, we need to define it. So we're going to have $name space equals, let's just say David. Now, if your name is David and you're watching this video, yes, it is true. I can see what you're doing. You're a little weird. Take off that dress. And so now that we have our name, you may notice that I use single quotes instead of double quotes. Well, that is because there's a huge difference between $name equals single quotes David semicolon and $name equals double quotes David, and I'll show you in a little while when I'm not lazy enough. When I'm not too lazy. There we go. And also, it has to end with a semicolon, whereas pretty much everything in PHP does. So after we have our name variable, let me show you the difference between that and also what it looks like in double quotes. So name equals double quotes David. Now these would output the same thing. And you may be wondering, okay, then I can just use either or. The answer is no, you cannot. Because if you use name single quotes David and you try to put double quotes in there, so let's make David's name sound very sarcastic. So this is now going to output David in quotes. But if you try to use double quotes inside of double quotes, it will output T underscore string error, and it gives you a bunch of other spiel. Now the reason is because PHP is going, okay, here's the start of the double quotes, and here's the end of the double quotes, random data, start and stop, and so it's just getting really confused, so it just throws on error to be a jerk. So what we need to do is we need to put slashes in front of those double quotes, and now it will render out the sarcastic David name. And so that's one of the few things. And then also you can put in variables. So let's just say let's have a new variable. We're going to call this one string, and we'll have string equal nothing for now. And we're going to delete this last line and delete these double quotes, and this will render out the word nothing. So we want this string to say whatever the user's name is, and then say is cool, even though David wears dresses. So we're going to type out $string equals. Now we want to echo out the name. So I'm going to show you the way to do this with single quotes, and then I'm going to show you with double quotes. So you're going to type in single quotes really fast, so 2 little single quotes, and now we need to put our variable. So we're going to put a period variable, which is name, period, and now this is only going to echo out David, but we want it to say David is cool. So you see the second area after the period, and then it's more double quotes and single quotes, sorry. Well, now this is the area where we can actually type out our word. So what we type out is cool. Notice how there's no space right here. So this would render out, but we want a space right there, so we're just going to throw it in there real quick, and it will render out this. And that's exactly what we wanted. And if we put like David 2, it would render out David 2 is cool, and so on and so forth. And now that was quite simple, and it's even easier with double quotes, but like I said, I don't like it as much. So let's put David in double quotes. Actually, we can leave them in single quotes. So now we're going to define string again. String equals double quotes, name is cool. So notice how all I had to do was type out, I didn't have to put any periods or anything, and it was a lot easier to work with. But yeah, so that's how that works out. I'm not a huge fan of using this technique because it's not as confusing, and actually I guess that would be a reason to use it. But using single quotes, you have more control over what you're typing, and it just makes you look smarter. So that was using simple strings, and now we're going to do numbers. Yay, numbers! Okay, so I'm running out of time here, so I need to, I'm going to go through this pretty fast. So we're going to have a number, we're going to define a string, we're going to call it value equals 2. And then we're going to have additive equals 3 semicolon, and then we're going to have sum equals, let's just have this equal 0 for now. So notice how I didn't use any quotes or double quotes, single quotes. I just used nothing because these are just straight up numbers and we don't need to deal with strings right now. So let's say we want to add value plus additive. Well, let me show you how hard this is. You're going to type in $sum equals value plus additive. That was pretty crazy, right? And this is actually going to output 5. And if we just, let's change this to 4, now it's going to output 6. So you see the pattern there? And there's many things that we can do right here. So this is simple addition. Now here would be division, so that would be 0.5. And if we use an asterisk, this would be 8. And there's several other math functions, but I can just link to them, and I'm too lazy to type all of them out because I'm running out of time. So that was using simple numbers, and that was simple variables. Of course, I'm going to go over how to render these later in another video, but I don't have enough time to go over echo. So that was this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it. David, maybe you should get some help about wearing all those dresses that you wear. And you guys have a good night, and yeah. I'm Brandon from PHP Tutorials, PHP Web Tutorials, and yeah, you can subscribe. Press that golden button